Hey, what's up, guys? It's Aaron here with the Rookie Geek, coming at you with a really exciting video. We've just gotten the news in the past couple of days, Marvel's whole plan for Phase 4, and I gotta tell you, I'm overwhelmed. Some people have talked about, is this going to be too much? Is this going to be the thing that gives us all superhero fatigue? I would disagree with that, because I think there's plenty of people like me who will go and see pretty much whatever. Especially what Marvel does. I think you have to make a pretty infamously bad comic book movie for nobody to go to see it. I'm looking at you, Fantastic Four. So what we basically got announced to us is that we are going to have 10 Marvel shows in a year. In 2021, there's going to be 10 Marvel projects, all in the MCU, some on Disney+, some are going to be theatrical releases. One of which is one that should have came out last year. Well, at least a couple of them should have came out last year. But so we just, on the 15th of January, we had WandaVision. We just ended that. I just did a review for that if you want to go look at it. Obviously, spoilers. It is a full spoiler review. So just don't go into it if you haven't seen the series. Do yourself a favor. So now we have Falcon Winter Soldier coming up this next week. And I think we all know just how intense that's going to be. Baron Zemo, the bad guy from Civil War, from Captain America Civil War, is going to, come back in as the villain. And I think what's going to make that whole show is just, Bucky and Sam just kind of going back and forth. I think we saw that a lot in Civil War. And it is it just made for some really good banter. They're especially a good team up with Cap, just because it's just three very different personalities, but they all just seem to mesh together really well by just being purely good guys. Sam obviously is a really good guy, fights for what's right. Captain America is the quintessential patient zero for doing what's right. And then Bucky. Bucky is just a great person, and you take a great person and you put him through the kind of mental torture that he's been through. It just makes for a really complex, dynamic character. So with Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think we're all going to get excited. But I think that every single one of these is going to have its own level of excitement, even the lesser-known projects that I'm going to go into. So after Falcon and Winter Soldier on the 19th, what we're going to have is we're going to finally get our Black Widow movie, hopefully. If we get our Black Widow movie, it'll be on May 7th of this year. I just, it's always, that's my birthday month, and I always get a Marvel movie on my birthday, with the exception of 2020. So Black Widow, we're looking in that movie, we're going to end up looking where Black Widow grew up, where she was trained. You get to see her family. There's been many trailers that have released, and I think it's going to be really good for everybody to get a nice send-off for Black Widow. Spoilers, Black Widow dies in Endgame. But I think Black Widow is a character that when she first showed up, nobody really knew what to make of her. Same thing with Hawkeye, just because it was just the running joke that you had all these amazing over-the-top characters, and then Hawkeye and Black Widow. But as we've seen over the course of over a decade, that they are both very good characters, both for serious acting and for comic relief. And just being overall badasses. I'm excited for Black Widow. It looks intense. So then we get another fun thing. It seems like every month we're going to get something. I think August might be the only month that we're not getting a Marvel series. Maybe like August and September. That might be a 2-month break in between them. But then we get on June 11th, we get Loki. Which is based off of the Loki from the end of Avengers Endgame, when they are going and they're trying to steal the Tesseract, and then they have to Ant-Man has to give Tony a heart problem with his arc reactor, to send him into shock, so that way they can steal the Tesseract from them. It ends up going a little awry. That Loki from that universe gets a hold of the Tesseract and transports himself out. the cool thing is that it's all adding up, because we're going into the multiverse, and they're really leaning into that, and I'm glad they are, because it's really interesting. It's a very complex thing, and then on top of that, we might get the opportunity to see characters that that aren't around anymore, just kind of pop up for a second for like a cameo. I mean, obviously, I don't want them to be replaced permanently, or brought back permanently. I mean, Marvel has a tendency to do that, and I just don't. I think that if you don't have the stakes, then how are we supposed to feel the emotion? Like when Iron Man snaps his fingers and sits there about to die at the end of Endgame, I think there's not. If you are a Marvel fan and you watch that and you did not cry, I've watched that movie 40 times probably at this point, and I still get teary-eyed every time. The wife actually makes me turn off the movie right as soon as Tony snaps his fingers, because she doesn't want to see anything else. It breaks her heart. I'm one of those people, though, that says that Tony did what he was supposed to do. Anyway, so Loki will be going around to the different universes and killing the other versions of himself. And I'm sure the show will fully explain very quickly about why he's doing that. But I think that's interesting. We're gonna get a whole thing of just Tom Hiddleston being Loki in various different degrees in other universes for an entire series. Yeah, that sounds really fun. Now, the next one is one that I wasn't too sure about. Again, this goes back to, I'm not actually a comic book nerd in the sense that I did not grow up going to comic book stores on Tuesdays. I didn't, I had, maybe 3 comics in my room growing up. I had nothing. I love superheroes because of, growing up with the movies and everything. Now in my recent adulthood, I have started to read comics in the past, 10 years or so. But this is a character that I was not familiar with. Same thing. It was the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy. I had to look up Guardians of the Galaxy when they were announced, because I had no idea who they were. So Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the movie. It comes out on July 9th. Shang Chi is the martial artist in the MCU, or in just the Marvel universe, that can beat Iron Fist, in my opinion. He is, Iron Fist. I mean, he's the immortal Iron Fist. He's one of the best fighters ever. But Shang-Chi is the Kung Fu master. I'm really interested to see where they go with this. I love when Marvel brings in a character that I'm not familiar with, just to kind of, if you were looking at it from a actual lifelong geek perspective, it's interesting to see these characters in old comics and then just see how they're manifested on screen. But I think that that's one thing that I love about the MCU, is that it brings us to characters that we didn't even know we loved, but we love them. I don't think there's a single person that doesn't love every member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe not Star-Lord after Infinity War, when he kind of screwed up everything, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of every character for their own reasons. Now, Shang-Chi, though, I've looked him up a little bit. All I can really get to with it, the general consensus, is that, he has a lot of ties to Daredevil, to the Iron Fist. So I'm wondering if maybe the Netflix characters that now Disney has back, if they're gonna kind of use him in that regard. But he's also fought with the Avengers. He was in the Secret Avengers with Captain America. So it's really interesting to get a new character, some new blood. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Captain Marvel. Not the movie. I thought the movie was fine. The character herself, I don't even know if it's the character or Brie Larson. I don't really want to point the finger or blame either way. Could have been writing. She could just be a hard character to resonate with. But I would say out of every MCU character, as far as the good guys go, just not my favorite. So then we get in the summer. Some of these actually don't have dates yet. They have just said vaguely when they're going to release. So the What If is an animated series that they're going to do on Disney Plus, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's, what if this did? didn't happen, or what if this did happen, or what if this person did it, or this person died, or and it's interesting. You get to be able to see something like that. It's fun, and I can tell that it is probably something that Kevin Feige and his whole crew had tons of fun with, because they get to play this, oh man, what if this and what if that, and if they've shown us anything over the entire course of the MCU, it's that they are true geeks, and it really means a lot to them to get these characters right. If not for that they care, but for the money. So the What If series should be pretty cool. Now on November 5th, we are going to have another set of new characters. And this one's called the Eternals. I know Angelina Jolie is in it. Selma Hayek. And I don't know the actor's name, you'll excuse me, but Robb Stark from Game of Thrones, if you were a Game of Thrones fan. Several people are in it. It really does look like it's a good series. And the Eternals, my biggest question, because they have been on Earth since forever, and they have just kept quiet, and which would be fine under normal circumstances, but when you're sitting there and you're being quiet while Thanos is attacking the Earth, I have to start wondering, where are you? But I mean, I'm sure that they're gonna find a way to explain that and give it justification. I mean, we're supposed to like them; they're the good guys, so I have complete faith that they'll do it. But the Eternals, ancient race. And almost a response, I think it was Jack Kirby's response to the New Gods that he created with DC. So when he created them, he had just left DC, from what I understand. If there's any geeks out there that are actually, true lifelong geeks, or people that just know the source material more, please feel free to comment and correct me on any of this. I'm perfectly fine with that. I call it the rookie geek for a reason. I'm not an expert. I'm just a diehard fan, and I like talking about it. So that's November 5th for the Eternals. It's another group of superheroes that I'm just not that familiar with, but I'm excited to get to know, because Kevin Feige has done that to me. He is, I never am like, well, why are they making that? I'm like, you know what? Kevin will tell us. He'll figure it out. So then, then we get, a little over a month break. And then around Christmas time, we get a present with Spiderman 3. Spiderman 3 is No Way Home. And from what the rumors are, is that it's going to be a part of that whole multiverse thing, and I wouldn't see them shying away from that, given that Into the Spider-Verse came out and everybody loved it, including me. I have watched that movie a million times. It's actually what got my kid into superheroes, was watching Into the Spider-Verse, and I will be forever grateful for that, but it is great. Hilarious, great cast. And then, I just wouldn't see them not going for that. It's been rumored that Tobey Mcguire and Andrew Garfield are going to come back, and I mean, they've already got Simmons to come back as J. Jonah Jameson, and I am, J.K. Simmons. I could watch that guy eat breakfast. I mean, he's hilarious and just a good actor. I've seen him in serious stuff, and he just blows me away. So we got Spider-Man there. That is going to be very exciting. Now, some other stuff that we got. Hawkeye and Miss Marvel are supposed to come out this year. We all know who Hawkeye is. I don't know exactly what his series is going to be about, but I'm wondering if they're going to use that series in a way to introduce Kate Bishop, his daughter. I mean, we've seen her already, but I mean Kate Bishop, the actual trained Kate Bishop, and she's just as awesome as her dad, if not more. But Miss Marvel, now for those who don't know who Miss Marvel is, a lot of people would say she's female Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four. She stretches, she can increase the size of her fists. That's usually what she does, and slams them down. Her powers are actually pretty awesome, but she's an Inhuman. So I'm wondering if Miss Marvel if they're going to use that to introduce the Inhumans, because they already tried to in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. which I was on and off a fan of. There were good seasons and bad seasons, I guess, but it was one that I kind of checked out on towards the end there. But you know, if they're going to bring in Inhumans, I'm all for it. I just would worry about, you know, cramming Inhumans in when you've just got all of the X-Men and the mutants back. You know, but like I said, I trust Kevin Feige. In Feige we trust, right? Now, 2022, they've already, with all of these announcements, they've now given us also things for 2022. The very first thing on that list is Moon Knight. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a Moon Knight helmet here. I have a ton of Moon Knight comics. That's just my favorite cover. I love Moon Knight so much, and they've cast Oscar Isaac of, you know, many movies, but you would know him probably best as Poe from the new Star Wars trilogy. Wouldn't hold that against him. But with Oscar, I think he has the range and the look to pretty much master any of it. If people aren't familiar with Moon Knight, it's a very complex character, but at the same time, he is a very interesting character. Now, some people have called him Marvel's Batman. I would firmly disagree with that for several reasons. Yes, he has little moon crescents that he throws like batarangs. Yes, he fights crime at night. But he has Captain America level abilities that were granted to him by the Egyptian god Khonshu. So he is in a lot of ways superhuman, whereas Batman is not. Batman is just, in my opinion, the perfect human being. I mean, he is the most trained, strong, intelligent human that you can be, but he's not a superhuman. And, you know, I would debate, you know, we could debate on who's going to win in a just drop down fight in between them. But I just, you know, Bruce Wayne's a great character, but Mark Spector is an amazing character. He starts out as a mercenary. He's turned on by his partner. These people come when he's laying there dead, and, you know, they bring him to the foot of the statue of Khonshu. Khonshu comes to him and says, you know, I will bring you back to life if you become my avatar on Earth. And of course he accepts. It's kind of a trick, kind of not. It's, you know, he does in fact have the powers of Khonshu, but Khonshu is kind of a mischief maker and really messes with his head. To the point where Mark, you know, is schizophrenic. He has split personalities. He becomes up with alternate personas to do different various things. He has his Bruce Wayne type character, rich guy, because he does have money from being a mercenary and everything. And then I forget the name of the cab driver that he does, but and they all have different names. But he gets lost in these people and just doesn't even know who he is. There's a whole comic where he just can't figure out if what he's in is an insane asylum or hell or whatever. It's a great comic. If you haven't checked out any Moon Knight comics and you're interested, I would definitely check them out. But if you couldn't tell, I'm super psyched for this. This is not a character that I expected to get, but Moon Knight is awesome. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. He's awesome. Then we have, in 2022 as well, we have She-Hulk, and that's going to be interesting. Another character that I know a little about, but not so much. I know nothing. They haven't said anything about the plot. No synopsis has been released. You know, but then as far as, you know, because those are going to be Disney Plus series. But the two that I think we all know that we're going to get as far as movies go, that's been announced for 2022 is actually Thor 4, Thor Love and Thunder, which we are getting Natalie Portman back. Christian Bale was actually cast as the villain for the movie. It looks like it's going to have that, you know, I don't know, that almost that 80s kind of feel like Thor 3 had, but you know, that makes sense because Taika Waititi is actually directing it. He is the one that directed Thor 3, and he is a prime example of how Kevin Feige can keep true to what he's trying to build in the MCU, staying true to the source material, so it's paid the respect it deserves, and then at the same time, he is able to give us these characters that, you know, are better than we could have thought. You know, when I was 12, if you would have told me that I was just going to fall absolutely in love with the character of Iron Man, I would have told you you're crazy, because I knew next to nothing about Iron Man. I knew the Black Sabbath song and you know, maybe a cartoon show, you know, cameo here and there, but now everybody loves Iron Man. So you know, Kevin Feige is to credit for this. And you know, with Thor 4, it's going to be that same thing. It's going to be Taika Waititi giving his flavor all over the movie that we loved from the third Thor, and it's gonna have that Kevin Feige steering wheel just kind of attached to it to keep it in the realm of where they want it to be. Let it fit with the overall story. Because if you go back and you watch early MCU stuff, you just you realize, just go back and watch Iron Man 1, and you know, and tell me that, you know, things for this guy aren't going to get real, that there's so much more to come. You know, it's just great. I can't, with the MCU, I just look at it as such a gift to geeks everywhere, and to mankind, really. They're great stories. I tell people all the time, even if you're not a superhero fan, you could pick up any Marvel movie, with the exception of maybe an Avengers team-up movie, and still enjoy it. It's a great movie. I've said before, Thor 2 is arguably the worst Marvel movie. Now, that's debatable. Everybody has a different opinion on what's the worst of the movies, but again, it doesn't matter, because even the worst MCU movie is still a decent movie that is good to watch. I've watched Thor 2 so many times. You know, and I'll watch it tomorrow if it grabs me, because I still like it. I still love comic books. But then we get finally the final project that was released, and we already knew this. We knew it was coming, you know, because of WandaVision, because of the talk before WandaVision, that Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness will be coming out, and as far as I understand it, Scarlet Witch will be in it in the same way that the Hulk was in Thor 3, which I think makes perfect sense. You know, they mentioned the Sorcerer Supreme in WandaVision. You know, Agatha says, you know, you're the Scarlet Witch. You're supposed to be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. I think that that's a very good possibility. But Doctor Strange is, I have to say, until Moon Knight comes out, I don't know if Moon Knight's going to come out or not. Come out and, you know, just make me go nuts. But if it, you know, so that pending, Moon Knight pending, Doctor Strange is my favorite MCU character. I think he is just, you know, he is a person that works hard to do what he's supposed to do, and he's committed. Now, that could be because Stephen Strange would dive headfirst into anything that he actually wanted to do. But I gotta say, that just seems like it's going to be crazy. I mean, when you name something Multiverse of Madness, and the first Doctor Strange was already so trippy, I'm really excited to see that one. You know, I mean, I'm excited for every one of these projects for their own reasons, even if it's just curiosity. But it's mostly the reason I keep saying that I trust what Marvel is doing. You know, I have yet to have anything happen with Marvel where I'm like, okay, yeah, that was terrible. You know, it's just, DC movies have done that. Fox movies have done that to me, where I walk out of the movie theater and I am just so upset. But Marvel has yet to do that. And, you know, there's first time for everything, you know, it could happen, but the most I've ever been is slightly underwhelmed. But I still love them, and I still will watch them if I'm binging the entire MCU. So, guys, that is actually my video right now for the lineup that's coming this year. After the horrible 2020 we had, I think that this is going to be so fantastic, just to get a nice dose of superheroes every single month, with the exception of, I think, 2. And we're getting new characters. It's a new day, and you know, if any of you were wondering what they were going to do after Endgame, how are you going to be able to top that? Well, we're going to see, and I have complete faith that they'll do it. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. I will keep you up to date on any other Marvel news that comes up, DC news, Star Wars news, and then I'm going to be doing some more lightsaber reviews. I'm going to be reviewing some cosplay props. I'm trying to upload at least every other day. So please like and subscribe, and I will continue to bring you more content, guys. Thank you so much, and have a great day.